What's up everyone, welcome back. Today we're playing the final installment of Golos Tireless Pilgrim in a monocolored shell, and today we're playing mono white Golos. I've done every other color, this is the last one. I'm sure you all know what Golos does, but brief overview. Golos ETBs, we fetch any land out of our deck, so we're going to go get the World Tree. We'll go over that in a sec. Then the second ability, we can pay 2 in Wooburg, 7 mana total, exile the top 3 cards of your library, play them for free, essentially. So, the goal of the deck is to get Golos down, fetch the World Tree, which mana fixes us. Since we're in mono white, we obviously can't get all 5 colors, but the World Tree turns all our lands into lands that tap for 1 mana of any color. And then we start spinning the wheel. Now, the other 4 colors have, at least on Arena, right? We're talking about in the realm of Arena. The other 4 colors have bigger payoffs at the higher mana curve for Golos to go get. It was a little bit more difficult to build a mono white version of Golos. I could have built like a Death and Taxes version of Golos, which would have been fun, but I don't think that's like what you want to spin off the top with Golos. You know, like imagining you pay 7 mana and you and you get a spell that says each player can only, or an enchantment that says each player can only cast 1 spell each turn, is like, you know, like that's not really what you're trying to hit. You're trying to hit like Emrakul or Ulamog, you know, Zetalpa, but there aren't that many like big white payoffs on Arena. So what I decided to do instead, a little bit different than the other 4 colors, is to build like a mono white weenie deck that has some, very few, but some big mana payoffs. But more than likely, we're going to spin the wheel and be able to cast like, you know, Valorous Stance into a Sunset Revelry, into a Luminarch Aspirant, right? Not great individually, but together that's a huge swing in our favor. So, or any number of these spells down here, right? Heliod or Elite Spellbinder, Brutal Cathar, it's still really good to hit those types of spells. They're individually kind of like okay, but 3 of them all at once is very good. So again, the point of this deck is more mono white weenie. Go wide, try to beat the opponent down with our 1/1s type vibe. There are some control cards like Swords to Plowshares. I wouldn't even call them control cards, just like removal, right? Because one thing white does really well is removal. Giant Killer, Elspeth Smite. I do have Deafening Silence in here. So, like I said, there is a lot of creature support on Arena. So like including you know, a 1 mana enchantment that says each player can't cast more than 1 non-creature spell each turn can really shut down some decks. Any deck that doesn't have a exclusively creature-based focus, this enchantment really hoses. So we can run some, you know, tax cards like this one. Authority of the Consuls is another one. 1 mana, creatures our opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped, and then we gain life when they do. So I did sprinkle in a couple of the good ones. Land tax would be another enchantment that's really good. But there isn't ramp in white. I mean, you could call Restoration of Aganjo ramp technically. Where's Restoration of Aganjo? It's a 3 mana one right here. So we can like chuck a card in the bin and get it onto the battlefield tap for free. It's technically ramp, but it's like super incredibly slow ramp. So I didn't try to build this deck to like ramp out Golos fast like I kind of did with the other 4 colors. I built it so that we have a good deck, and then Golos is like the win con on top of it all, right? Golos isn't like the centerpiece of the deck. Golos is a added bonus to the deck, if that makes sense. So I'll just go over the big payoffs. So we have Emeria's Call, which is also an MDFC. It can be a land, but we can create 2/4 angels, and our creatures gain indestructible until our next turn. Undo version doesn't count as a board wipe. Zetalpa, not a lot of people know this card exists, but it's on Arena. One of the first Reanimator decks I built on Arena was one that fetched Zetalpa, and people do not know how to play around this card. Now, there's more exile effects now than there were 2 or 3 years ago when I built that deck, but they have to have an exile effect. Otherwise, this creature never goes away. And it's a flying double strike, vigilant, trample, indestructible. Pretty hard to get rid of. Ulamog, everyone knows what Ulamog does. Brutal. And since Golos counts as casting, we do get the cast effect. And then Emrakul, we can just take the opponent's turn and completely wreck them. Mana base is pretty much what you would expect. Nothing incredibly special in here. Castle Ardenvale, the Lord of the Rings land, Minas Tirith. Yeah, so let's get into the game, see if we can actually win with this deck. If you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button. Go watch the other ones if you haven't watched the other Golos, monocolored Golos videos I've made. They're all pretty funny. Some of them are incredibly effective too, like a lot more effective than I would have thought, you know, because 5-color Golos is one of the best decks in Historic Brawl. So I just thought on paper, if you take away 4 of the 5 colors, it's got to be a worse deck. But some of them actually perform better than I would have expected. And I think part of that is because being in monocolor really smooths out your mana curve, and you don't have to color fix for the first 3 or 4 turns, right? So having that kind of linear approach to playing your cards, I think makes the deck run better. I always have found 5-color decks hard to play unless you have like a Golos that can just go fetch a color fixing land for you. But you know, if you watch anyone play like the Prismatic Bridge or Niv Mizzet or any of the I think it's Niv Mizzet, one of the dragons that's 5-color, they spend the first like 4 turns color fixing all their lands, and I mean, it's still a powerful deck. It's just like that's time sort of wasted when you could play spells that like advance your board state. So we'll see how this works out. Okay, so as I explained in the other videos, so Rusko, obviously another super powerful commander in Historic Brawl. Since you are, you know, playing Golos, the matchmaker doesn't know that you're playing a neutered version of Golos, right? So they're just still going to match you against the most powerful deck. So that is one of the challenges with a build like this. This doesn't do anything against Rusko. So we will, and then the rest of the, I mean, we have the One Ring, but I think we need lower mana curve stuff. Wow. We can fetch a Plains, but we're doing nothing until turn 3. Okay, Alseed, Bunnicorn, Teferi's Protection. This is better. Keep 6. So what do we put back? 1. We have 1 land. So we got to keep this. Probably Teferi's Protection. Teferi's Protection seems really early. We'll do it like this. We get to go first, so that's nice. Okay. This isn't gonna kill Rusko, so we'll just play it. We have other removal in the deck. They're gonna pass. Okay. They could, okay, they're gonna draw. I was gonna say they could remove Regal because it's gonna get pretty big. There's a funny card from Wilds of Eldraine, little bunny unicorn. But in this deck, it could be pretty good. If we get a bunch of creatures down, it could be a really big creature. Oh, this really hoses them. Okay, so we'll try to draw something out from their hand. They obviously have some type of removal. Or some type of instant speed something. We also have a way to make a creature indestructible. So we could get this down. If they counter it, which they should if they have the ability to. That's fine. We'll play Dawn of a New Age. Whirlwind Denial. Free spell. Resolve? Yep. They're getting the most expensive counterspell out of their hand. Oop. We don't want that in our hand. We want that. We want to spin into that. Awkward. So, do they just slam their commander here? They could have Languish, which would be brutal. Or Ritual of Soot. But it's... I just don't think they would have kept those kinds of cards if they saw Golos as the deck they were playing. Alright. Let's make them use their mana on their turn. Okay, well, we just destroy it then. That's fine. Doing something. Okay. Bring them back to our hand. Then what? They gotta be looking for a board wipe. But this gives us an opportunity to play Golos next turn if we draw a land. Look at the top four. Put one in your hand, the rest in your graveyard. So they got rid of a bunch of lands and a counterspell. So they're tapped out. So I think this would be a good time to get this down. So we can start gaining life and draining them, which is ironically what Rusko does to us. They're in Dimir, so they have no way of interacting with artifacts. Or maybe they do in blue, but not a lot of ways. Maybe like bounce it or something. Resolve? Resolve. Okay. The 3 toughness is killing my my white removal plan. Counter. We'll just go for it. Okay, displace your kitten. Really good. I don't think it being tapped changes its claws. So now they can bounce Rusko a bunch. Make more midnight clocks. Wait, did they just... 1, 2, 7... 10... Oh, I'm so close to lethal. Damn, I'm so close to lethal. What does my devotion have to be? To 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So this will drain them 1. But that doesn't quite do it. I think Unbreakable Formation's better. Get them down really low. And then we can play some more creatures that we draw. Now they may have a counter here, but let's get it out of their hand. I don't know what this does. I'm assuming bounce it. Okay. They got a bunch of midnight clocks. Let's see if they can do anything with them. They might spend mana to get this to 11. Then on my turn it would get to 12. Or they put a Bunnicorn in their deck, but they can't cast it. Oh, no, they can cast it. No, they can't. They can? Oh, I see. Okay. Sure. So they have a tapped 8/8. Okay, this Valorous stance finally has a target. Pass. Wow, they don't attack. Resolve all. Settle the wreckage, huh? do it like this. The more creatures we play, the more their life total gets low. I know they can gain life with Rusko, but this is our only path to victory right now. Oof. So we'll let that. Hold on. Control Z. Let it resolve. And then we will Valorous stance it, and they have to have a counterspell right now. Or an instant, right? Cool. Whew. So they get to draw a fresh hand. Okay. Wait, why would they do that now? Just to get the extra midnight clock? Because they're going to draw a card, and then they're going to get shuffled away, right? Oh, no. It's going to happen after. Oh, clever. Very clever. They still got a ton of mana. All to the bottom, huh? Okay. If they can't win with 12 cards, then they just got super unlucky. Because there are plenty answers to what our deck is doing in this deck. Hotel, that's probably an extra turn spell. Maybe a counter spell. They're going to attack. Ooh. I mean, they probably have a bunch of counters, so it's not like it really matters what we do on our turn. No blocks. I have 40 life. They don't have max hand size, so they're going to have to discard here. Just one, huh? Okay, the 5th land finally arrives. So, we'll attack. We do have lethal on board, so they have to block. Unless they have a flash creature, which they definitely could. Or a removal spell. Or like literally anything. They can't bounce Rusko with the Displacer Kitten because Authority will make it come into play tap, so that won't do anything. They're going to have to block with the Displacer Kitten. Okay. Alright, yeah. I mean, I figured they had an answer, but no, we don't want to do that. So they're going to bounce their Displacer. Or bounce their Rusko. We gain a life. They get a midnight clock. They drain me and gain a life. They make a copy of their Bunnicorn, return ours to hand. We have Settled the Wreckage next turn if they attack all. However, I mean, I think we're going to lose this game, so I'm just going to play Golos. If they counter it, we can just scoop. If they don't counter it, we can keep playing. That's why that's why you guys are watching the video, right? So that I can play Golos. Yeah. Fun game. Rusko's a miserable deck. Another alchemy card. Strikes again. But we actually got pretty close. We got them down to like 6 life, so for what our deck is, it's pretty good against a Rusko deck, which is packed with all the most broken stuff. How do you guys feel about alchemy cards in Historic Brawl? I think some of them are fun, personally, but I don't think like Rusko, the commanders, I don't think they should be allowed. I think they should be banned. Now, most of them are awful, so it doesn't matter, but like their mechanics, like Rusko getting a free midnight clock on top of like draining people, is it's just too much. And that seems to be the thing with alchemy cards. Either they're awful or they're way overpowered. There's like nothing in the middle. So I find that I'd rather just not have them in the format, but I think that's how most people feel. Balmor, okay, so they're like super aggro, is it? So I think this is good against aggro, is it? Because this gets big, right? Oh. Well, we can exile it. This doesn't do anything against it. They get to go first, so land tax will be turned on, so I think we gotta keep. Yeah, they might have a bunch of flyers, which is not good, but our deck does not deal with flyers very well. So they have at least 2 flyers. So we'll take action. So here's my theory on land tax. You take all the lands each time, even if you have to discard the hand size. And the reason is, now we're going to hit all of our land drops for the rest of the game, and we don't have to worry about, you know, land drops and getting them out of our deck. And it takes lands out of our deck, so it helps us hit more spells instead of lands. We can create a 2/2 or put Bunnicorn down. I think we just make the 2/2. So we'll pass through the turn. Discard these 2 planes. Submit 2. We'll just do this now while they're tapped out. Because they could conceivably play an island and have Spell Pierce. So I just didn't want to risk that. Now they could have Lightning Bolt, which would... or Shock, right? But it's fine. We're really playing this more for the backside than the front side. Yep, so we always are going to grab all 3. And again, this happens before your draw step, so it increases the likelihood that you're going to draw a spell instead of a land. Yep, that's great against this deck. Because they could have lethal very soon. So we're going to touch the Spirit Realm on Balmor, because their deck doesn't work without Balmor. We'll discard this Plains. Pass. What does this do? Prowess. Okay. If it deals combat damage, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Okay? Yeah, hit me for 1. Adapt 4, so like make it a 5/5. Take action. Grab all the planes. Get those freaking lands out of our deck. Okay. Well, Destroy Evil will work on this if it ever gets big enough. How many instants and sorceries do they have? 1, 2. So they got a long way to go to adapt it. We can get this down. Or we can get this down. We currently only have Regal. So I think we get this down. Wait, what? Oh my god. I thought this was the enchantment that gave everything +1/+1. I just misread the card. So that was a big punt. Oops. But we're keeping it in the vid. We're keeping it in the video. I can't believe I just did that. That's so funny. Ooh. Well, that turns off their whole deck. Let's see if they have anything that gets rid of a 4/4. Reckless Impulse. Okay. Yeah, they can make their guy pretty big. They're going to attack all. Alright, so they definitely have one more spell. So they could get rid of my Bunnicorn. Does that matter? I don't think it does. I hope we trade, but I guess we won't, right? Yeah, okay. Well, that's good. Because if I didn't block there, they were going to do that spell and maybe get close to killing me. Oh, perfect. Something that gains us life. Okay, so we can do this, or we can... I think Daxos is the priority because we have Teferi's protection. Yeah. Okay. So they'll take this as their best shot. So they're gonna try to kill me here. Hopefully they don't have a counter spell. Yep. Give me your best. Okay. We gotta wait till the last second to rip Teferi's protection. Because this will get all the cards out of their hand. We can also destroy evil that creature. So this might be an opportunity to do that. But let's wait till they go to attacks. I want to see if they use this last card. They do. Okay. So they make a 5/5 with first strike. Okay. Let's take 7. Okay. We still have Teferi's protection. We still have Teferi's protection. We can Golos. We can do this, but that doesn't really help us in this situation. We need removal. We can exile this from their graveyard. We could gain 2 life, but that'll only get us to 6. And we gain another 1 from this, which gets us to 7. So we get to 7 life and have Teferi's protection. We could play 2 cards. Or 2 creatures and gain 2 life. But we wouldn't have Teferi's protection up. I think we exile that card from the graveyard and then keep Teferi's protection up. So what is this? 3, 2. No, that's not enough. There's like no way that we can do this where we can have multiple things up. Okay. I think this is the best line of play. We do this. We exile a target card from a graveyard. What the frick is this thing's name? Maximize altitude. Oh my god, they're gonna make me miss it. Come on. Thank you. Okay, and then we'll keep this up. Okay. Yep. The frickin' every game I feel like I run out of time. Oh, they can just keep doing that? That's disgusting. Okay. Resolve. Oh, no, they can't. Oh, they just wasted all their mana. Okay. Sure. Pass. Is that gonna not come back in on the creature? That would suck. Oh no, it does. Okay, cool. Oh, we could gain some life here. We could gain some life and draw a card, right? We have to play out our hand to get that card. But that's like our only chance, right? Playing Golos does nothing. Except for gain us a life. It doesn't help us survive 7 damage from them. Probably more than that with whatever this card is. Yeah, I mean, we gotta go for it. They have a counter spell? Is that what it is? You can counter that, that's fine. Okay. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we're way far away from that. Why doesn't this card have lifelink? I mean, I don't want to attack because they'll block with this and then they'll get to play it next turn, so no attacks. But I have a feeling they're going to draw a card that gives this double strike and then it's all over. Scry 1, okay. They can draw a card with Spectral Sailor. Alright, here it comes. Oh, nope. I survived. I lived. Why didn't they do that pre-combat? Yeah, I don't think there's any way out of this. 7, 8. Ugh, so close. Well, we'll just play Golos for the brownie points. Sure. Yep, gain a life. Well, we tried. I said it in the first video, I think, but the mono white build was going to be the hardest one to make work with Golos, because Golos really wants you to like ramp Golos out and then start spinning the wheel. But mono white just does not have the ability to ramp Golos out. So you really have to play like a completely different strategy, which doesn't really align itself with Golos. So we're basically just playing like a straight up singleton white weenie deck with no help from our commander or synergy from our commander. But you know, again, it's just a deck building challenge. We're not taking it too seriously. But I recommend The mono blue build and the mono black build specifically were really good. I think the mono red one could be good with the right cards. The mono green one could probably be good too with the right cards. Mono red and mono green, you basically just have to focus purely on ramping. But this mono white one is not doing so hot. So technically 3 lands. Tear grid. Okay. So they're going to be discarding a lot of stuff. We have removal for tear grid. But they'll probably get rid of it. This is really good against tear grid too. Is this hand good? I don't think so. I think the way to get through tear grid is to... Or at least for this deck to get through Tear Grid is to... Yep, that's way better. Is to play out, like, the white weenie strategy. So we'll keep this. They're in mono black, so they have very few ways to interact with enchantments. Okay, that's a good card for them. We'll get this down so that we can blow that waste knot up. Waste knot up. I think I said that right. Blow this up. That's what I mean. They're reading the card. Wow, Soul Shatter. Didn't expect that. Okay. This is good against Tear Grid as well. Okay. Sounds good. So I'm assuming they're gonna do all modes. Yep. I don't know, this might be a great deck against to have Golos against because they can't make us, like, we get free cards off the top of our deck. They can't make us discard those. So they're gonna minus here.
To choose my own fate.
Or I'm sorry, plus, and then we'll both discard. So if we discard a land, if we discard a non-land, they get to get a creature. We don't want to give them a creature. I guess we don't have the have a choice either. They're all, yeah, okay. Yeah, resolve. Oh, we had a way to destroy enchantment this whole time. Oh, shit. Oh, man, I gotta read the cards. Yeah, sure.
We're doing things my way.
My bad. I thought this was the one that doesn't do that, but okay. 3 or greater. That's a bummer. So we do it like this, so they have to block. And they're going to keep taking life from black market. So if they want to save their Liliana, they're going to have to pay the 3 again to get a creature down. Yeah, that's going to start really eating away at them. Tergrid? Uh-huh. Okay. We just need to draw a land.
I really don't care about your plans.
Okay, so we can make... Okay, here's what we do. Do it like this. And if they block with Tergrid... They don't block with Tergrid, huh? Surprised.
You're more powerful than I thought.
Okay, well, we gotta hope they attack. They're gonna keep taking life with Black Market, although they're getting a ton of cards. We gotta flash this out, otherwise we lose it. Keeps them from blocking with Tergrid next turn, so I guess that's something. It's the timing of it isn't great. Oh, it doesn't untap. So, never mind. I thought it tapped it and then didn't untap, but that's okay. So all we need to do now is enough damage to them
We're doing things my way.
where the black market kills them. They already plus this... Oh, okay. Interesting. Are they going to board wipe? Is that why? They have a blood on the snow? Crux of Fate. Gotcha. Okay. That's fine. Ooh, okay. Not bad, not bad. More board pressure. I don't think you can put another creature on the battlefield, man. Yeah. You're taking way too much damage. Like at this point, I don't think they can kill us in time before Black Market kills them.
I have no interest in fighting fair.
That's fine. You keep doing your thing. Oh, they gain a little life. Sweet, sweet. That's it. That's all you can do. Okay, they have a creature. I make a creature. Go ahead and do the creature. Okay. Are they gonna minus here? They should.
The others youth was a wasted opportunity.
So they'll bring a creature back from a graveyard. Is it a graveyard? Yes. It gains haste. They're gonna choose one of mine. Maybe Daxos. So they can gain life. But you have to have a creatures for this to gain life. Okay, they do. They're on the incremental gain life plan. Okay, so I lose 10. Interesting. Okay. So they could do that again next turn. So we gotta do this to this. No attacks. They left their Tergrid in the graveyard. which is interesting. Probably because of the emblem from Liliana. They're going to choose Star Commando. So they're probably going to blow up the... They probably should blow up their own black market, honestly. Do they have a board wipe? Is that why they're doing this? Okay. Well, we'll do it like this. So we can't gain any more life this turn. God, we just need a land. Spellbinder's good. It's a flyer. Okay. So they have 2 discard cards. They're both sorceries, so we don't really care which one. They don't have any creatures, so if they get Daxos back, they don't have any way to gain life. We are at 7 life, though. Man. They could get Terragrid back and just try to beat me down with it. But no, they're going to get Daxos. So maybe they drew a creature. No blocks. We turned off Tiny Bones. It loses all abilities because of our spell. My god. Can I draw a land deck? A land. How many... You'll have to tell me in the comments. How many turns in a row was that with no land? Was that like 5 turns in a row? Because if I had drawn a land, I could play Golos, fetch the World Tree, and attack with Spellbinder, and at least have a creature back to block. But now I have to keep this back because they have lethal on board. Plus a haste creature. Actually, they just win, because if they get Terragrid, it has Menace, and I can't block it. So let's see if they find the line. Yep. Give them a good game. Was close. Is the motif of this deck. It was close. I'm not sure how you mono white mages out there do it, man. This is torture. The people who willingly play like mono white and commander and stuff, like, man, this is rough. This is rough. Rafine, okay. We'll give it a whirl. It's good against Rafine. It does have ward though, right? Ward 1, that's not too bad. Seal away is good. Actually, that's perfect. We'll keep because this is good against them. Awkward World Tree in the opening hand. Okay. Let's do it like this. We need to have multiple white sources for some of our spells. Okay, cool. Pass. So they're probably... I mean, their whole deck revolves around Rafine, so they're probably going to play Rafine here. No. Corpse Knight. Okay. Pass. Alright. Do we just play this to get it down? Or... I think we ossify... the Knight, because we don't want them to get a trigger off of Rafine on the same turn they play it, if we can avoid that. Alrighty. Well, we can get rid of that too. Yes, resolve. I don't have a choice. Might as well do this while they're tapped out. They might have counter spells. Okay. Alright. That's a good draw. Normally not very good with that deck, because we usually have creatures on the board. Good game. Ah, we did it! We did it. We won a game with this deck. Oh my god. Okay. Alright, well I think I have some thoughts. So let's do a deck review. Oh, at least we got some coins. Okay, so I think this deck is not good, right? But I think there might be another way that I hadn't originally considered. So I made a Prismatic Bridge video where I made the way the deck worked was, you know, obviously you color fix to get the Prismatic Bridge, but you know, in those turns where you're waiting to get to the 5 colors needed, I put like something like 15 board wipes in the deck. The reason for that was when you're playing the Prismatic Bridge and you're waiting to get to like turn 5 or earliest turn 4 to play the bridge, a lot of the times the opponent pulls ahead, and so even though you play the bridge, they're too far ahead for your bridge to catch you back up. And so the board wipes would wipe the board, and so when you did get your first trigger of the bridge, the board would be absolutely empty. That may be a way to build this deck too, where, I mean, you're in white, so you have every, you know, board wipe known to mankind. So maybe this deck should be mono board wipes instead of white weenie, and you just play board wipe after board wipe after board wipe, and it's just all removal and board wipes. And then you have big stuff that you spin into. I mean, that could be a really valid way to do it. So if I had to rebuild the deck, I'd probably try that, because this, since the commander doesn't really assist this strategy at all, it makes the deck like just one step behind, right? So this is essentially like a mono white aggro deck, like you might find in standard. But the difference is that everyone else has their commander helping them with their strategy, and we don't. And then on top of that, we're playing Golos, so we're facing all the other best decks in the format, and so we're like really struggling to get over the hump on those decks. To our credit, we got all of our opponents down to like 6 or less life, and then we just couldn't close the game. So, you know, that's still an accomplishment considering the deck structure. But it really doesn't lend to the idea of this deck, which is to get Golos down and start flipping spells for free off the top, right? So we were never really able to get to a position where we were able to do that. So if I had to rebuild this deck, I'd probably do more of a... I'd probably do Death and Taxes, removal, board wipes, all the white control stuff. And then I would have endgame payoffs that Golos could spin into. So maybe you want to try to build that deck. I might try that in the future, but I'm done with Golos for a little while. I've built 5 of these decks in a row, and I'm a little burnt out. But thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you have any ideas on how this deck could be improved, maybe even in this style, in the mono white, you know, weenie style, leave a comment down below. Thanks again for watching. Like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.